don't know how you're gonna feel about what I said in class today. Let me get to that in a moment. Hi, I'm Chuck. I'm an educator with a new job this year and a new podcast and a new principal. And she's gonna come into this story today in this episode. This is the Drive Time Diary. If you're new here, this podcast is me making the most of my new commute this school year and talking to myself in the car. And you, the listener, are riding shotgun. So thanks for being here. And what I'm thinking about today is something that happened in class. Let me set the atmosphere here. I had my principal coming in today to observe a lesson that we had collaborated on a couple weeks ago. We talked about what was coming up, and we looked at the schedule, and I showed her some materials that I had already together that I'd used before, and she had a goal of an instructional strategy that she wanted me to work on, and we put this together, we collaborated a little bit, and then I kind of had some homework to go back and finish refining that, and then we had planned for her to come in today to see how it goes. I was really excited about it. Like, I'd been kind of practicing those things that we had talked about already for the last several weeks, and felt like I had a lot of moves that I had refined that I was gonna look good about. And then I guess this was a migraine hit today. So I was hungry and had this headache just kind of growing all morning. And during this, she came in third block, so it was like right before lunch too, and I hadn't eaten anything today, and so it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and so I wasn't like in my best spot, best mindset, best decision-making abilities, and I am just like soldiering through this lesson because it's an observation too, and it's planned, and didn't want to like replan it or reschedule it, whatever. And so I'm just doing my best to get through this. And we started doing operations with polynomials today, which was our first chapter. And so this was the adding and subtracting polynomials. And we were looking through the essential question, and I'm introducing the idea of polynomials. And this is like one of the few times that math teachers get to play like English teacher and talk about suffixes or prefixes and stuff. Is binomial day, monomial day. Anytime we're talking about nomials, that's a real common time for math teachers to talk about prefixes. I think I always do it. I think other people do. Anyway, so I'm trying to introduce this word, trying to get them to think about what that might mean, and reminding them how we talked about monomials in the previous chapter at the very beginning when we were just looking at those, and trying to get them to come up with the word polygon. And one or two kids kind of got there. My co-teacher is prompting them about geometry. Their 8th grade experience was awful, so maybe they didn't even hear that word last year. And then I'm trying to be even more relatable, and my brain that knows pop culture, Gen Z stuff, has watched the show Good Trouble on Freeform with my wife. My brain looks at polynomial, and I'm trying to get kids to think about it, and I think, should I bring up polyamorous? Let's talk about romantic relationships and multiple open relationships right now. That's a great idea for freshman algebra. And half a second was no, idiot, don't do that. Your principal's in the room. And then migraine brain was no, just go for it. They're gonna love it. And so I said, and you may have heard of polyamorous relationships or polyamory. That people have talked about for themselves, and then I think in my memory of my migraine-ridden brain, some kids are oh yeah, and low-key it landed really well, maybe, I don't know, but yeah. So then I'm soldiering through the rest of this lesson. The headache keeps getting worse and worse. I'm getting nauseous as it's going on. A little bit dizzy, definitely weak. If I had a chalkboard, it would have been the chalk, but I get through the very last example, and I'm just like done. And so I put the little interactive board pen in its little tray, and knowing my co-teacher's in the room, I just like continue out the door into the bathroom that's right out near my classroom, and I'm splashing water on my face, feeling awful. And bless my co-teacher, she's like wrapping it up, reminding kids of homework, and being amazing. But today, yeah, today in algebra class, we talked about polyamory. And there you go. So I guess if you have stories of interesting things you've said in class, I'd love to hear those. Send me a Spotify voice message, or send me on Instagram at It's Just Bigger for Math, or Drive Time Diary, or Instagram at the X, or you can find me on Facebook, in real life text message, any of those things. Just let me know. Always love feedback on the podcast, and some of you that have been like, where's the podcast? Some of you, okay, it's like 3 people. It was like my daughter and my mom and my sister, I guess. So thank you to at least my family loves me. But yeah, as those of you that asked about the podcast, that I was taking a little break as I was getting settled into school, thank you for that. And thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next drive time. Stay safe.